I don't like starting the show with a question that I've got to think about now. Chandler doing some existential crisis stuff before the show. Welcome.
Little demon talk.
Will, Jeff Parsons, Michelle. We got Bruce Bowen coming up a little later. That's actually a good question for people to ponder. Would you like to ask them before we get to the hoops?
Would you rather never have a memory again or forget all your memories?
Never have a memory again.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to think about that.
I think I'd forget all my memories. If you can't make any more memories, what's the point of living?
Okay, well, that's deep. We're going to get the hoops right now.
That's good podcast
Think
talk
about
right
it.
there.
I know. I kind of love that.
You can use it.
Sixers,
I saw it on Instagram.
Celtics.
I didn't come up with it.
Game 5. Boston still, leading this one 3-2, but my goodness, Philadelphia.
It's a bit of a shocker here.
I know, 113-97, your final. Joel Embiid, you know what? This actually made me very happy. 33 points, 8 assists. Tyrese Maxey with 25, Tatum at 24. Boston, this is one of those nights where they shot a bunch of threes, 39 of them, made 11. But we just talked about Joel Embiid yesterday. We talked about whether the process has been a failure or not, and what does he do? Goes out there and balls out.
And you know what's crazy? This is a dude, too, who obviously we know the history of his injuries and everything he's been through. This guy had an emergency surgery less than 3 weeks ago. So I think we do need to give him a little bit of grace of him coming back, missing the end of the season, and having I think the fans and everyone was a little confused at how aggressive he was last night, how they put him in the starting lineup, how he kind of was the main focal point of the offense after that backcourt had kind of carried them and kind of held, tread water without him. But this is Joel Embiid we're talking about. This is just a normal average basketball player. When he is on, he is dominant, and he gets going with so many easy looks earlier in the game that even Jaylen Brown said, I think that propelled him to get going, to get his confidence. And this was an MVP type version of Joel Embiid. And when he is like this, they are a completely different team, and they can still have a balance, right? They can still have a balance of playing through him in the post. Those guards get out in transition. ISO with Paul George. Like, this team has a little bit of everything, and they're a very versatile team, but they're so much better when there's this version of Joel Embiid who can dominate the post and equalize, anything that, any other big man on the Celtics could do.
Yeah, I thought he was brilliant in the second half. I love the adjustment that he made during this game. When you play against the Boston Celtics, they put you in a position where you got to shoot a lot of three-pointers for you to be successful. Joel Embiid said it after the game. He kind of got sucked into the game plan of shooting a bunch of threes. He was 0 for 5 in the first half from the three-point line, came out in the second half, used his size, used his body to be the dominant force that we've grown accustomed to seeing Joel Embiid do. There was a couple of times in that game he just lowered his shoulder and laid the ball up on guys. Vucevic and the other young man, I'm not going to butcher his name, so I'm going to keep moving. But Kata. But both of those guys, he just put his shoulder down and he just abused them in the paint. And then he used that to get to his turnaround, the fadeaways, and all of those things. Now, I still think the best version of the 76ers is when Joel Embiid is a complementary piece to these young stars.
To the young guys, yeah.
I think the guard has shifted. Tyrese Maxey is the man of this team. They're a better team when they're playing fast, when they're up the court, when he's able to play in the open floor, and Joel Embiid, he eats off of that. I still think that's the best version of them. But for him to have the mindset and knowing that I need to switch up how I'm approaching this game and how I'm tackling, especially it's been my second game back in a month and some change, and just turning myself into a jump shooter and then becoming more dominant, I thought that was a brilliant adjustment that he made for this team to be successful last night.
It's catch-22, right? He's so talented and skilled that sometimes he does settle, and the way the game is played now, he can kind of float around the perimeter. Instead of picking and rolling, he picks and pops. And like Lou said, I think he's much more dominant when he gets to the foul line, when he gets in that paint, because he is a big dude. Like, you can't guard him one-on-one. So now you're forcing double teams. You're putting kind of the Celtics defense at a disadvantage, scrambling, and then you got guys like Oubre and Paul George and the Grimes that can knock down shots once you get them playing on the backside 3 against 4. So again, I think he provides just a different kind of presence that they obviously don't have without him. And I agree, this is Tyrese Maxey's team. This is Tyrese Maxey's team going forward. He's proven that. He's been the healthiest, most consistent player on this team for a really long time. But they are so much better with Joel Embiid as this version.
I remember I had a coach in the league that used to say, a 7-footer at the three-point line, we're all the same size out there. Yeah. We're all the same size at the three-point line. So when you have a guy that's so dominant, that's a force like Joel Embiid, and he's living at the three-point line, he's not putting very much pressure on the defense. He's living and dying by the three-pointer. He's taking his chances at the three. But the minute that he steps inside that line and he wants to put pressure on you and use his size to dominate and try to get to the rim, that makes the defense react to all of that. That makes the defense collapse. Now that opens up the lanes for other guys to be successful. Paul George's been shooting the hell out of it in this series. Once you allow him an inch worth of airspace, that changes the game. That changes the way that the 76ers can attack. Like, they put on a masterclass in that fourth quarter, and I think that started with Joel Embiid attacking that rim and opening up the three-point line for everybody else.
You know, this morning was the first time I've really heard anybody, like talking heads or whatever, give Philadelphia a real shot at coming out of this, because I think it was a foregone conclusion for a lot of experts that the Celtics they're on their way to the Eastern Conference Finals, at least. After what you saw last night, Lou, what kind of a chance are you giving Philly to pull off this upset?
Well, whatever the percentage was, I'm sure it's up today.
Significantly.
You know, yeah. Now, Boston is one of those teams. I had a conversation with Sam Cassell at halftime at the game that I was at the other day, and he said, we don't care. We're going to shoot it. That's our game plan. We're going to shoot threes. We're going to get threes up. They are a three-point shooting team, and as you can see last night, they shot 11 for 39. If they clean that up, they feel comfortable about their chances in winning a basketball game. Now, I do think they shoot it better than that, because you got so many different guys that can shoot it, from White to Pritchard, Tatum, Brown, all of these guys, even Vucevic can step out and make threes for this team. That's just the identity of this group. When they don't shoot it well, they don't play as well on the defensive end, and they were able to allow Philadelphia to gain some confidence in that second half of this game. Now, would that be the same conversation back in Philadelphia for Game 6? We don't know. But I think Boston, they go as their three-point shot goes, and if Philadelphia can contain that like they did in this last game, they got a great opportunity to tie it up.
Yeah, everyone that plays for this Boston team is a three-point threat, except Keita, right? So that means 8, 9, 10 guys are shooting threes, and in losses, they're 27% from the three, and in wins, they're 41% from three.
Big difference.
Crazy.
So they are living and dying, and they're living pretty good usually.
They live pretty.
But when they miss, man, it's ugly to watch.
They're living pretty healthy because, again, like Lou said, like guys like Hauser and Shireman, Tatum, Pritchard, like these guys are elite three-point shooters, and the way they attack and drive the paint and get out in transition, they get good looks. They get open looks. They just can't have many fourth quarters like they just did. They lost 28-11. They scored 11 points in the fourth quarter. They're not winning many games against anybody scoring 11 points in the fourth quarter. So they have to finish the game, and they have great closers on their team to do that. It's very dependent on the three-point ball.
It's on a three ball, and it's also on the bench. Boston's bench has been brilliant in this series. Last night, Philadelphia kind of got even. I think that was the difference in this game. Like, you look at a guy like Peyton Pritchard, had 30-some points in Game 4 in Philadelphia, started Game 5 pretty decently, and then kind of cooled off, and it didn't work in their favor. If that's a team that can get their bench going again, they're going to put a lot of pressure on Philadelphia to be able to level up with that. But because they didn't have the impact in those previous games, and they allowed Philadelphia to have an impact off the bench, I think that also, along with the three-point line, was a big difference in the outcome of this game.
The three-point line is coming up in this next one because Derrick White's 21% from that specific area, under 9 points a game so far, averaging in this one, which is crazy because we've gotten very used to Derrick White being a very big deal in these types of moments. If you're the Celtics and you're thinking ahead, and we know Giannis he's floating around out there, do you think about maybe trading Derrick White?
For a Giannis?
If you can get Giannis.
Well, there's going to be a lot more involved. I mean, it's not going to just be that simple.
Yeah, and it's not just going to be Derrick White.
No.
But yeah, for sure.
He's making a lot of money.
And I don't even think that's offensive to say. Like, there's levels to these players, and Giannis is a top 5 player in the NBA. And if you get a chance to get him, there's going to be some uncomfortable conversations and decisions that front office is going to have to make. And Derrick White might be included in those. That's not even saying because he's struggling this series.
No.
Even
There's
if
money
he's playing great
here.
this season, this is a business, and he's probably going to be the guy that Milwaukee would want because he's such a versatile, he's one of the best role players in the NBA. He's efficient, he defends, a great shot blocker from his position. Like, he does it all. And so if I'm Milwaukee, I'd want one of those two main guys, and I'd want Derrick White, and I'd want picks, and I'd throw give me Keita. Like,
wow,
I want everything for Giannis. But yes, we're so used to him being so efficient and productive in the way he plays. And again, he's a player where it's not necessarily tailored on his stat line. He has so much impact elsewhere, but you want to see him shoot the ball better than 21 or 22% from three. You want to see him average more than 8 or 9 points in this series. And I still think they get out of this series, but for them to get to advance,
how positive are you they get out of it?
Beat the Knicks or the Hawks, and then to beat the Pistons or Magic, like they're gonna need the best version of Derrick White.
And I was about to say, and with that, it's just a matter of the series. Sometimes this series just isn't yours. Like, Derrick White is probably one of those guys that this is not his particular series, but it's been Peyton Pritchard's. Like, he's had all the success in the world. I almost want to say he's kind of carried Boston. And now that's being a little dramatic because obviously you have Tatum and Brown leading the way. But his impact on the floor every time that he stepped on in this series, he's been a difference maker. And sometimes when you have a third guy like that, a third option, fourth and fifth guys, they kind of just find something else to do. So I think Derrick White has found other ways to impact the game outside of just shooting the three ball and being an offensive force with his team.
Guys, can we lift our cups real quick? Go ahead. Go ahead and cheers. Spurs.